Hi, this is Guy for One Kingdom TV. I want to talk today about where we are heading as the Christians, as the kingdom, and are we in fact ready for what's coming? The writing is on the wall, and Jesus tells us that we should discern the times and so on. And I'm not going into this as, the prophetic thing of date setting and so on. But what I am saying to you is that when you look at prophecy and the rate at which it's been fulfilled, then for those of you who have lived a couple of decades, you will see that there's an acceleration of the rate of fulfillment of prophecy. When I was a kid, as an example, I'm just noticing the light going through the windows there. I thought, wow, that's cool. But anyhow, sidetrack. When I was a kid, and I'd look at prophecy and how much had to be fulfilled, it seemed to me that there was maybe 20%, 10% still to be fulfilled. But I'm aware that where I am today and sitting and looking at prophecy, to me it looks like there's only 1%, if that remains to be fulfilled. Now the question that I have for you, and specifically for pastors, is pastors, when the writing is on the wall, when you know this is coming, what are you doing to inquire of the Lord as to how you are going to lead your people through this time? In other words, what I'm saying is when this thing is coming upon the world, which is prophesied, which is being declared by the world itself and by its leaders itself, that the things that have been prophesied are coming and will be done, not some distant future, but within the next few years, close years, then as a church and as the body of Christ, we should be saying, okay, this is coming. God, how do we get through this time? What is your plan and what is your blueprint for us to get through this time? And I'm not seeing those discussions. I'm not seeing that awareness. I'm not seeing pastors waking up and saying, hey guys, we actually need to take this seriously. Now, the second aspect of what I'm saying about that is that when I have spoken to pastors and I've asked them directly, what plans do you have in place? The kind of answers I've got is, well, we're going to teach people to love the Lord more. Okay, yeah, but we live in the physical world and we have to be wise in the physical world. And I'm saying, what practical steps are you putting in place? What practical strategies are in place? What practical wisdom are you bringing to the fore so that your people will have a hope and a future and a wisdom? Now, if you go through Bible and there's world events that are coming upon the earth, God doesn't just say, well, you've got to love and gentle Jesus and be a nice dad and so on. He brings forth practical strategies to be implemented in a real way on the face of the earth. And we have plenty of examples of that. Joseph being the classical example. So this situation of a world change of events is coming. The Lord knows this, prepares Joseph in advance and starts giving him dreams and visions of the time ahead and saying, I'm laying in your heart the practical blueprint for this, that when the time comes, you will be ready for it to implement a practical strategy. That practical strategy addressed all sorts of levels of application. It addressed the levels of government, of administration, of trade, of business, of architecture, of engineering, of construction, of storehousing, of forecasting into the future, of projecting into the future. Now, we as a church, we as the body of Christ have all of these gifts and talents are sitting on our pews right under the noses of our pastors. And I'm not saying this to poke pastors in the eye. I'm saying, pastors, you need to wake up to there's a much bigger picture than this model we've been taught of the modern church, which is present a sermon on Sunday, smile nicely, shake hands, say a few platitudes, and then see you again next Sunday and bring some more guests to support my ministry, right? If we go and we do a side-by-side comparison with what Jesus created and this model we have today, they don't match. They're not the same thing. And I'm going to suggest to you that Jesus' kingdom will be fit to get through this time ahead. But these man-made models of ours are not. And they're going to fail and they're going to crumble by the dozen. And so this is not a rebuke. But this is really just a call to you to say, Pastor, there is a bigger picture going on, and it's all around you, and you know it's going on. But are you ready to come to the table and say, hey, guys, we've actually got to face the elephant in the room, and we've actually got to have these open discussions, not from the point of view of our ego or from the point of view of our doctrine or our pet theories or our whatever. But we have to come around the table from the point of view of God. We are facing desperate times. And what is your strategy? And Jesus, what is your blueprint for us to follow through this time on earth, practically, with practical wisdom, doable, realistic, and implementable on earth as it is in heaven? So if this resonates with you in some way, if you are not a pastor or maybe just a member, and you feel strongly this is resonating in your spirit, share it with your pastor, invite them to the table. This is what the ministry of the empowered kingdom is all about. It's not about us. We've got to put aside this old model of let's spend 6 months to write a thesis on how wrong some other denominational party is. That's not Jesus' prayer in John 17. And what I've found is that when we come to the room and we say, guys, let's just put all of that aside. It's what matters to God that's important. It's what matters to Jesus that's important. Guess what? All of that disappears and all of the disunity goes away. And now we start seeing things with clarity, because the mind of Christ is clarity and the heart of God is unity and heaven is unified. And so if we want to walk under the blessing of heaven, in connection with heaven, where we receive the blueprints of heaven, we have to come into that place where heaven operates, which is in unity. And so if you're a member and you feel this and you resonate with this, and there are many, many people out there that have a kingdom calling, but there are many charlatans also going out, and, this being the priority. But if you resonate and know there's something below all of the noise, there's always the true and the genuine. And if that's you and you feel strongly, reach out to us, join the Empowered Kingdom, onekingdomtv.com, follow us, Professional Christian Podcasters on Facebook. Reach out to us, get hold of us, let's start pulling together and let's start putting strategic, realistic, doable, implementable strategies in place, because time is running out. Time is very, very short. Wake up, bride of Christ. Wake up. The Lord is calling. He's knocking on your door. May God bless you.